This is the Tropic Canis Gamers podcast, episode 36. Today I invite a special guest, Lisa Williams, to come and talk to us. Lisa, would you like to introduce yourself properly?
Hello, hi Jen. Lisa Williams. I'm an illustrator, artist. That's me.
That's
Any more
short and sweet.
stuff?
So you're a children's illustrator.
I am.
What's your background to that? What started you
Uh,
off?
Gosh, well, I had a pencil in my hand for as long as I can remember before I could even speak. I used to doodle and draw squiggly things, and as you do when you're a kid. And I'd always instinctively want my mum to label them. So if it was a worm, if it was a flower, a dog, I'd point at the paper and say, worm, and my mum would have to write worm underneath. And she still has some of these pictures lurking in her, hiding as bookmarks in her cookery books.
Cool.
Just to remind me. Over 50 years old. Scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's nice that she's got those mementos of your childhood, though.
Yeah. Yes. I know. Yeah. Early drawings.
Yeah, so going from early drawings to maybe your educational life, what led you to actually get into illustration in the proper sense?
Well, I decided quite early on that I wanted to be an illustrator. I mean, even in primary school. So I remember, the way you have to learn to write a job application with dear so-and-so at the top and your address on one side and whatever, the letter format. And you had to pretend to be somebody famous in the area that you wanted to work in. And so I pretended to be Mabel Lucy Atwell, applying for a job to be an illustrator, children's illustrator. And that was probably when I was about 9 years old. So yeah, the die was cast quite early on. It's just something I always really enjoyed and felt quite natural to me. Going through senior school, just always really enjoyed drawing and art. There was a really good art department in my school. Got the school art prize, which I was really shocked and surprised by, which is great. They went on to do a year's art foundation in Bangor, which just gave you a taster into lots of different creative areas of textiles, 3D design, fine art, which was fantastic. But yeah, at the end of it, still, illustration was my way to go. And then after that, I went off to Montfort University in Leicester, and had 3 years there. And that was a really interesting place to study, actually, because it was the biggest art school in Europe at the time. I don't know what it is now, but there's a building at the time called the Fletcher Building. Every floor had a different subject. So there was surface decoration, there was footwear design, jewelry, 2D design, every different type of creative industry was going on in this building. And you could walk between the floors and see what people were doing, animation, all sorts of things. So it was a really, really inspiring environment. Yeah, really enjoyed that time there.
Yeah, so even though you had all those avenues to view, as it were, you
Yeah.
still stuck with illustration. Why is that?
Well, like I say, it just felt like a very natural way to work for me. I mean, I've always enjoyed dabbling in other areas. I mean, I love ceramics, and I do sort of quite large canvases sometimes, paint murals in schools, all sorts of things.
Cool.
But dabble in all sorts of areas. But illustration has always just felt very much like my direction.
It's nice when you've got a calling, isn't it? And you know what your true calling is.
Yes.
So, what's your mission as a children's illustrator? Do you have one?
Mission as such? Well, I think I just like to make people smile. Just want to make them happy, and that's a nice thing. I mean, the last few years I've been working directly with authors much more closely through talk publishing.
Yeah.
So help, and as you know yourself, but you work directly with an author. It's a much more intimate process, whereas when you're working with a big publishing house, the work tends to go through an editor or a designer, and so you don't have that direct contact. But these days, now I am working so intimately with these authors, you're able to make it much more personal. So if they mention they've got a type of dog, or their child likes a particular toy, you can include that dog in the background. You can include that toy just strewn on the floor or tucked up in bed, and you can just, make it much more, much more special.
Yeah, I love the personalised touch you do. I've seen some of your illustrations. So
Yeah.
out of all the projects you've done, have you got a favourite one that you can remember?
Gosh.
One that sticks out?
Oh gosh. Well, I enjoy the variety. I think that's what I thrive on most of all, is variety.
What about experience then? Have you got a favourite experience you've had?
Again, the variety of experiences. I mean, so I love, gosh, there was one time I was working on a series of murals in a school in Flintshire, and it was the middle of winter. It was the winter Christmas holidays, and a pipe burst.
Oh.
So all the corridors was at about 2 or 3 inches deep in water. So I was trying to help the caretaker, sweep this water down the corridors, as well as painting these murals. And yeah, and so I ended up working in my little welly boots. But I mean, it's great. So cold. I was there with my coat. I've got this old coat that I wear when I'm painting murals in schools and things, because during the holidays there's no heating on. That was an interesting experience. Another interesting experience would be, I did a whole range of packaging for Thorntons.
Oh wow.
And it was great. I did the window displays. So I did the whole Halloween range, which was scaredy spiders and all sorts of interesting packaging. And then actually the spider was made out of white chocolate, and he was put on a milk chocolate bar. So I had 3D little characters, which is great. And this was of course all over the country, and did the bonfire night range as well, and some board games and bits and bobs. But what was nice was people from all over the country were contacting me, friends living in Scotland or London or Northern Ireland, and saying, "Oh, we've seen your packaging, it's great." They even put my name on the back of the package, illustrated by Lisa Williams, which is quite unusual. It was great.
So is there anything you wish you'd done differently in your past projects?
Differently, I think just having more confidence. I think confidence comes with age, but I would constantly question myself, and I think there's no need. You just have to just go for it, enjoy it.
Feel fear and do it anyway. There you go.
Yes, absolutely. I like the line. That's a good line. Yeah. 100%.
So going from that, if anyone is listening or watching and is aspiring to be an illustrator, have you got any tips to help them get into the industry?
Try lots of different apps. So it took me a long while to sort of go from working on paper to working digitally. I was a bit of a purist, and I felt, just that there was that reluctance in me, because I love the feeling of pencil on paper and seeing the ink squidge over the water running into the colour. But actually, since getting my iPad, I now work in Procreate, which is a very popular app for illustrators. It is a really natural drawing process. It feels very genuine, and I would advise, I mean, I'm sure they do, but all aspiring illustrators to really crack on and have a play with different apps and different techniques and things like that.
Cool.
We're now competing with AI, so
this is what are your thoughts about AI?
Well, mixed. I mean, some people are very rude about it, but I've actually seen a few examples, and I shouldn't say this as an illustrator, but they're quite good. But there is something missing. I think there will always be a place for a traditional illustrator.
Yes, glad to hear it. It's the same with music absolutely. As well.
Yes, of course.
Yes. So where can we find you if people want to tap into what you do?
Well, most of my work comes through my Facebook page. So I've got a Facebook profile, and that's Lisa Williams Illustration. Very simple. So I'm on there. I'm also on Instagram, and I can't remember the handle, so that's not really very helpful, is it? But I don't use Instagram so often. But Facebook is my main go-to. Yes.
Yes, it'll be in the descriptions as well. So, thank
Yes,
you.
yes. And of course, there are lots of samples of my work in there as well, so people can see what I do. Yeah.
You've got a very colourful life. I
Yeah.
love seeing what you get up to.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Colourful
being
jumper.
my guest today. Yes, jumper. I've got the books because it's book month for me.
Yes.
So
Excellent.
thanks for being my guest today. I hope you've enjoyed our conversation, and I
Thank
wish you all the best for your future
Oh, thank
projects.
you. Oh, thanks, Jen. And you.
Thank you. This podcast episode is sponsored by Ashtanga Life Anglesey. Come and join us on Anglesey for a yoga festival celebrating various styles of yoga, meditation and breathwork. There will be talks on gut health, the mind, life coaching and lots more. On the summer solstice weekend, starting on International Day of Yoga, 21st of June, until the 23rd of June 2024, this festival welcomes all levels of yoga. If you're unsure about what type of yoga suits you, you'll leave with clarity and a direction for your own unique yoga journey. The festival is at an intimate location on North Anglesey with no more than 150 guests. There's only limited tickets left though, so don't miss out. Visit www.ashtangalife.co.uk and click on Yoga Festival to get your tickets. Hope to see you there.